I faced so much hardship in my life that it has become an addiction for me. Sight is for the eye and vision is for the mind.
Do you still want to become president? Absolutely.
On the 7th of July 1991, in little village in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, the family of Damodar Bolla were extant with joy as they welcomed the birth of their newborn baby. The father was dancing, the mother was dancing, and the music rolled and everybody danced until suddenly a discovery was made.
It was after a little shower and all, they placed me on the bed sheet and then tried to look me up in the presence of kerosene light. That's when I was not opening the eyes.
This singular discovery suddenly turned the festival mood to a funeral mood as the parents became gloomy and sad and everything seemed to turn upside down before their very eyes. This little boy came into the world and gave his parents two opposite emotions in just a couple of hours. How could this happen? How could their first child be born blind? It was so much of a pain to the parents, but neighbors did not help.
Everybody advised my parents to kind of move away from me and get rid of me or whatever.
Neighbors' suggestion that the child should be thrown away was mind-blowing as well as it was shocking. But the parents decided to do the direct opposite. They decided to take care of the child and nurture the child, even though it was a very difficult thing to do, especially with the fact that they were very poor. A couple of days later, this child was named Srikanth. As Srikanth grew, he grew in the loving care of his parents who took care of him and did their best to take care of him as a blind child. But it got to a point where he necessarily had to leave the warm company of his parents into another one.
In 96, they tried to put me in a government school in Hyderabad, but I cried a lot. I didn't even get in. So my father took me away. So it was after 2 years again they attempted in 98 and they succeeded.
The young Srikanth was taken from his village and put in a school known as the Denver School for the Blind in Hyderabad. The first challenge he had with the school was that the school was a couple of kilometers from home and he needed to walk alone to school. A blind boy walking alone to school was not an easy thing, but he took it all in good faith.
My all senses were keenly developed, simply surviving walking on the village road for about 2 years.
Beyond walking to school, which he has said became a part of it, he also faced the major challenge of dealing with issues in school.
I just wanted to be like a regular kid and wanted to play with everybody, but that was not the case in mine. Nobody would wanted to play with me. Teachers does not know how to teach me, so they would make me sit in the last bench.
So this child, just a couple of years old, has faced so much rejection in his life that he became lonely and started to struggle with depression. But in all of this, there were two positive things that happened as Srikanth went to school. The first was something that happened in the 4th grade. He met a special teacher. Her name was Swana Ladha. Swana Ladha was a woman who cared deeply for the blind children she was taking care of. She took particular interest in this young boy. Srikanth was bright and had potential, and she was the first person who really saw the brightness and the potential this boy carried. She groomed him personally and started giving him private lessons. With the help of this teacher, Srikanth started doing well academically to the extent that in the year 2006, when it was time to go for a very special occasion, Srikanth was among the few children, among the blind ones that were selected to go for this occasion. The president of India at the time was a man known as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, Abdul Kalam believed so much in leadership and how leadership can change a nation, and he believed in grooming the younger ones to take over in leadership. And so he was a part of a movement known as the Lead India 2020 Vision Movement. And this movement was having conferences in schools and different places from year to year, a bid to groom the future for leadership of India. In the year 2006, the Lead India movement was graced by the presence of Srikanth. But before he graced the movement, Srikanth had conversations with his friends in which he talked about his one desire in going for that event. And that desire was to touch the hair and possibly pull the hair of the president. But why did this young boy wants to pull the hair of the president of his country. It turns out that before now, Srikanth had acted as APJ Abdul Kalam in a drama in school, and one of the key things he remembered was that when he had to act as this man, he was given a special wig that resembled the unique hairstyle of this man, and he felt the wig, he admired this hairstyle and wanted to touch it one day and possibly pull it out of the hair of the president. This occasion for him was an occasion for him to touch the hair of the president. As Srikanth and his friends walked to the venue of the event, they thought about something else, the possibility of a blind president of India. As they thought about these possibilities, Srikanth harbored another thought in mind. But the meeting with the president is even more remarkable.
I met a group of tribal students from Lead India 2020 movement on 28th August 2006. They are from the northeastern state they have come. I asked all of them one question, what do you want to be? Out of many responses, one visually challenged boy studying 9th class got a, his name is Srikanth. He answered me, I am Srikanth. I will become visually challenged first president of India.
Srikanth was elated at the reception of president for a simple answer to this question and had his shots at his early plans.
He asked everyone what all they want to become, and to his surprise, I was able to say what I manifested just a minute ago, and that made him come and hug me, and I was lucky to catch his hair. I did not pull it though.
Beyond the drama and theatrics of achieving his main goal of touching the president's hair and his answer to the president, there was something else that was born on that day, a special relationship between Abdul Kalam and Srikanth.
He has become my role model. He used to call me his hero in front of everybody.
While these two events or meetings, as we want to call them, were positives from the life of Srikanth in the school, something happened when he got to the 10th grade. The 10th grade is the grade where students have to choose whatever stream they wanted to go to for their future studies, and students who had desire to study in the sciences needed to be put into the science stream. Now, the science stream was treated as a special stream. That is where doctors, engineers, and the rest of them in science were emerging from. So Srikanth, with a desire to be an engineer, decided that he was going to be in the science stream. For the first time, Srikanth met opposition from the state itself. The Central Board for Secondary Education, the body that was in charge of the examinations for these streams, decided that Srikanth, as a blind person, was not fit for the sciences. This was a huge blow on the young mind of Srikanth. His heart was full of gloom and he felt seriously dejected. He saw the possibility of his noble dream of being an engineer wiping off before his very eyes. He knew that he needed to do something.
I and my mentor had to work so hard to get myself enrolled in the CBSE, and then at the same time fighting the education system to get me admitted in science stream. And after 6 months of struggle, we did get it.
So that is how Srikanth, upon suing the Central Board for Secondary Education, was able to get into the science stream. Srikanth did well upon getting into the science stream. He scored 98%, and in the second year, he also did well. But the next challenge in his academic journey came after he finished the 12th grade and needed to go to the higher institution. In the Indian educational system, going into the sciences, particularly engineering and technological courses, would mean that one will pass through what is known as the Indian Institutes of Technology. The Indian Institutes of Technology are a network of schools that did technological and scientific courses, and Srikanth faced rejection from the IITs because they deemed him unfit as a blind person to study engineering. For the second time, the system was rejecting Srikanth. For many days he was down. He felt dejected and heartbroken that the Indian system was not going to accept him, and he was constantly going to fight for his place in the Indian system. And in all of this, one idea occurred to him. He decided and told his teacher that he was going to apply to schools in the United States. So it happened that Srikanth started applying for schools in the United States. He waited in anticipation for the response of these schools. He felt his heart beating. He felt the warmth on his fingers, and he felt his feet shaking just in anticipation of the response that he would get from the institutions on the other side of the world. What was rejected by the IITs, was not rejected by the Ivy League universities in the United States. He got admission into about 4 Ivy League schools in the United States. Srikanth was elated. His heart was full with joy as he welcomed the idea of studying in the United States. But there was one more challenge. Here is the money. After so much effort from his teacher and with the help of Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Srikanth was able to get some scholarship and the funding problem was solved. And so Srikanth attended the prestigious MIT as the first visually impaired international student and graduated in the year 2011. As he graduated, a new dilemma was born. The thought of where to go next occupied the mind of Srikanth. On one hand, there was his home country, India, a country where he faced the greatest challenges, faced rejection from the IITs, had to fight with the CBSE to get into the science stream. On the other hand was the United States, a country where he has had opportunities since he arrived, right from being given his materials in Braille and every support that the system gave to him. As Srikanth thought about these two options, the option of staying back in the United States appealed more to him because to him, he was rejected on the other side. But along the line, he started thinking of the many other children like him who had issues with getting into the science stream, issues with studying engineering, other such prestigious courses, and other issues like that in India. Those thoughts began to dominate his mind also. Somewhere along the line, the thoughts of India won over the thoughts of the US. And so Srikanth packed his bags, took the next flight, and landed in his home country of India. As Srikanth landed in India, his eyes were set on the reason he came back, and right ahead, he co-founded a non-for-profit organization known as the Samavai Center for Children with Multiple Disabilities. He also founded a Braille printing press, which was meant to print materials for children that are visually impaired to be able to read and catch up the activities in their schools. As Srikanth started this, another challenge came up.
Employment for people with various disabilities remained a gray area because no corporates wants to hire them because they're either not fully qualified nor they can travel to the offices with the existing infrastructure, or the mindset of the corporates is not so positive that they can walk that extra mile and induct these people.
Everything that Srikanth had done in forming the center was seeming to go to waste. How could this be that even people among the disabled who were trained to work could not find work? How could the system treat these people like this? Srikanth thought. He decided to take the solution in his own hands.
Then we came up with the idea saying, why don't we start one company and employ everybody, not only people with disabilities, normal people, people with disabilities, underprivileged people.
And as he did this, Bollant Industries, Srikanth's own company, was founded in the year 2012. And this company was an eco-friendly company that is involved in providing packaging solutions for other businesses. What is the fate of this company and what happened as the years rode by with this company? We will come back to this company, but for now, let's talk about something that happened in the same 2012 when this company was born. The lost story of Srikanth is something I see as a 4-phase journey. The first phase of this journey is what I call the hunt. A certain lady known as Vera started sending messages to Srikanth on social media platforms. She sent messages severally, but Srikanth never responded to any of these messages. As a matter of fact, he saw her as...
I thought she's a mad girl.
As time went on, Srikanth decided with his team to try to respond to this lady and see her. They responded to her, found out that she was a medical student, and they started having the conversations online until things graduated to the second phase, the meeting. As they met, Srikanth was happy with what he was hearing. She was witty, she was intelligent, and Srikanth was impressed. But she said some decisive words that made Srikanth to make a certain conclusion about her.
I told her, look, I'm blind, and 2, I may not be able to compliment the way the other normal person may do. And if you're ready for it, you do it. He said, no, let me be that eyes of yours.
These words from her were the final clock.
I think that's it. I think the gap is filled.
The door was open for Srikanth, and he knew that he had found himself a wife. And so, a few years after these words were said, and after a couple of meetings between them, Srikanth got married to his wife in the year 2022. Something happened in that marriage in 2024, but we'll talk about that later. Let's go back again and talk about Bollant Industries. In Bollant Industries, Srikanth had the opportunity of having the two great people that had influenced him mostly outside his family. His teacher became the chief operating officer of Bollant Industries. Before now, she was one of those who founded the Center for Children with Multiple Disabilities with him. The company continued to grow in strength, and as they got investor after investor, the whole hell was broke loose in 2016 when Ratan Tata, the Indian forefront entrepreneur, invested in Bollant Industries. This investment attracted so much more of investment, and Bollant Industries continued to grow in strength and in every business statistic available. As this happened, the awards and recognition started pouring in.
Business Person of the Year, Small Scale, Srikanth Bolla.
There were so many awards that were given to Srikanth, and he felt elated and he felt a bit of joy that his life was beginning to take shape. In 2017, international magazine Forbes named him in Asia's 30 under 30. The awards came pouring in year after year after year after year. And in the year 2024, two major events gave Srikanth a different kind of experience. The first of those events was the release of a biopic, a biographical movie about him. The movie is titled Srikanth and is on Netflix. Srikanth was elated about this movie, but shortly after that, another phase of his story was born with the birth of his daughter, Nayana. Nayana, the word in Hindi, literally means eyes. Nayana, his daughter, has become the apple of Srikanth's eyes. And every time you see Srikanth reveling on social media about how happy he has become with the birth of this little child. The story of Srikanth tells us one thing. When people say you can't, that is when you should know that you can.